do China's economic woes make it more likely that the country could invade Taiwan? Well, Mike Gallagher, the Republican chair of a US congressional committee on China, says yes. He said that as China confronts serious economic and demographic issues, Xi Jinping could get more risk-accepting and could get less predictable and do something very stupid, he says. He disagrees, though, with President Joe Biden, who says China's economic downturn makes an invasion less likely. In recent years, China's military has stepped up its activity around Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own territory. Let's get to the bottom of this with our correspondent in Taipei, Yuchen Li. Yuchen, why would an economically weakened China be more likely to invade Taiwan if that is the case?
Well, many believe that waging a war can be attractive for countries like China to distract their people from domestic problems, as a series of recent data show that China's economic rebound after reopening is weaker and slower than expected. Some experts say China can become more aggressive in dealing with geopolitical tensions by highlighting the threats from the West or the importance of unifying Taiwan, a democratic island China claims as its own. Beijing may be able to distract the public from its record high youth unemployment rates and worsening property market slump. And a country's economic growth is highly related to its military power. Some analysts also predict that the invasion could potentially happen within a decade, as Beijing's military capability will be at its highest in the near term, while its economy may reach its peak and start to decline gradually. So, all of this, as some believe, may prove to the Chinese leadership as good timing to attack Taiwan.
OK, so that's the argument for. But what about the argument against? What's the argument in favour of the idea that actually a weakened China economically, is less likely to launch an attack on Taiwan?
Yeah, so some people, including the US President Joe Biden, said it should be the other way around. They claim the Chinese leadership can be busy dealing with its economic challenges and may not have the same capacity that it had before to start an attack. And some also say Chinese President Xi Jinping is learning from the Ukraine-Russia war and knew once it attacked Taiwan, there would be massive sanctions from the West and further hurt its economy. But when it comes to such arguments, China, of course, dismissed the Western comments on its economic downturn. Its foreign ministry said yesterday, quote, "What has collapsed is such rhetoric, not China's economy." And it also stressed that the prospect of its economic growth remains unchanged in the long run.
That's interesting. So there's strong arguments in either direction. It appears to have split Washington. But, what's the view where you are? What's the view in Taiwan?
After the debate heated up in the U.S., Taiwan's defense ministry said its armed forces should not let down the guard due to any foreign leader's comments. And instead of guessing whether China might attack Taiwan, it's smarter to stay prepared and make sure China would have to think twice before doing anything reckless. As for the ordinary Taiwanese people, a majority of them are not very worried about a potential invasion. I talked to a few people on the street in Taipei earlier today. They all told me the chances of China's invasion of Taiwan are very low. And they think that with its people suffering from the economic downturn, China would prioritize stabilizing its society rather than attacking Taiwan. If anything, they think China will only ramp up drills and presence of warships around Taiwan as warnings and threats.
The government in Taipei seems to think that preparation is important for a potential invasion. So how is that preparation happening?
As I mentioned, Taiwan's authorities want to increase the price China has to pay if it attacks Taiwan as a way to, increase the level of deterrence. But how high will the price be high enough? It's a question that remains unanswered. This year, Taiwan's government launched an annual anti-invasion military drill and has proposed a record-high defense budget for next year. So it does show that officials are making some efforts to prepare for the worst, but The overall atmosphere in Taiwan is still normal, as I mentioned as well. There's no panic among the society because military coercion from China has been a long-standing issue and has become part of the lives of many Taiwanese people.
Yu Chen Li in Taipei for us. Thank you very much.